In this self-reflection video, I'm going to be going over chapter 3. I'm currently a K-Sec student as discussed in my last self-reflection video. So a lot of the concepts that were introduced during this week, I was already previously aware of because I took a class on this previously, but I still had an interesting time going back and seeing what I did know versus what I didn't remember being able to measure. That was interesting. But my teacher did stress the importance of understanding that we do work with a wide variety of clients. Understanding that our values might not always align with them is important. Being able to maintain our own personal values in a way that doesn't infringe upon the client is also really important. It's something that she stressed. Additionally, being able to understand how my personal values can negatively impact the client. So understanding that and getting negative aspect of it was also something that she highly stressed. Referrals were also something that I learned about. And as much as this is not something that I would practice, I do understand certain situations where you would have to use them. My teacher did stress the importance of not using them all the time due to the ethical implications behind using referrals. So if using referrals a lot is not ethically considered the best practice, but emergency situations, I do understand that. Another thing that I learned in my last class was the importance of spirituality and religion and being able to include that in the counseling process. I think that, again, it's something that maybe you don't follow or something that you don't align with, but being able to use that in the counseling process and use that in the overall counseling session is beneficial in a way that sometimes the clients may align with that certain value, and it's just overall something that's important and relevant and therapeutically important as discussed by the book. So there was one question I had trouble answering, was I tend to have difficulty with people who think differently from the way I do. I had trouble answering this question because it was more of a, I want to say, war between myself in my head. I wanted to answer one way. I wanted to say that, of course, I don't have issues speaking with people or talking to people who think differently than me. I want to believe that, but unfortunately, I don't. That's not always the case for me, and not trying to generalize, but I don't think that is a lot for a general amount of people. I think that for me personally, I tend to have very strong values, very strong beliefs, and if someone comes in and thinks differently than me, it's very easy for me to try to influence them to practice my own values. So in a way, this question was hard for me to answer because it showed me that yes, I still do have trouble handling people who may have different values than me. But I think that it was important for me to be truthful, and I did learn a lot. So I learned something I learned about myself is that I need to get control of my own values, personal values. I think that in general, I have such strong personal values and such strong beliefs and principles, and I tend to let that guide my life sometimes. And I know when I work professionally, this is something that I'm not going to be able to practice. I think that I'm just so passionate about certain things such as basic human rights and making sure that everyone has equal rights and all that stuff. And I think that reading this material through and learning about the upcoming election, I understood the importance of maintaining and controlling my own personal values and understanding that you can't always influence people because it does have a negative implication sometimes, especially if you're in counseling, and it will have an implication outside of counseling. So for me, the way that I plan to manage my own personal values in a way that allows my professional values to guide my practices, I plan to think about my own personal values, assess the ones that are the most important to me. I plan to set boundaries and recognize the moments when my personal values are affecting my work. The way that I would recognize the moments is by doing self-reflection. So reflecting on those moments or understanding the moments when I would potentially, my personal values influence my professional work. I value, or I would value, work-life balance, I focus on professionalism and making the two separate. If I'm able to do all of this, I will be able to let my professional values guide me in my practice. Thank you for watching.